Layoffs across the U.S. soared last month, marking the worst October cuts in 22 years.
This is my first time visiting a food bank in my entire life. I've never had the need to do so in the past, but times change.
I have a master's degree. I have 25 years of experience in my own job. I didn't see this ever coming. It never should have.
In October alone, the United States had more than 153,000 people laid off, an increase of 183% compared to the previous month. It was also October with the highest number of job cuts since 2003. But why do the numbers on the economic news still look promising? Unemployment is only 3.8%. Stable growth. Market remains solid. But outside of those reports is another America, where millions of people are silently losing their jobs, leaving the office, removing their names from the system, and disappearing from all statistics. From technology corporations once considered the impenetrable fortress like Google, Amazon, Tesla, to manufacturing, finance, and real estate industries, the wave of layoffs is spreading like a virus. A series of companies cut staff, froze recruitment, and withdrew from markets once considered potential. No one wants to admit that America is falling into a new kind of Great Depression, is not as noisy as it was in 1930, but much colder. It is not just an economic crisis, but a crisis of confidence. A country that once prided itself on opportunity now makes its people afraid of its own tomorrow. In today's video, we will delve into the dark side of post-COVID. America to understand why this country seems to be living in the illusion of economic recovery, while in the underground layer of that dream, a labor crisis is quietly forming. The only people that will remember all the late nights you worked is your family. That statement may never be as true as it is now. People who once stayed up all night for work, once proud of their Amazon employee cards as a testament to their lifelong efforts, are now packing their desks and wrapping their American dreams in carton boxes. They leave with a cold email informing them that your location is no longer in line with the new direction. Amazon is preparing to cut about 30,000 office workers, equivalent to nearly 10% of its white-collar block, marking the largest layoff in the company's history. From cities once considered tech capitals like California or Washington, D.C., the wave of cuts spread across. Departments from human resources, advertising, cloud computing, to administrative management. In the midst of the storm, CEO Andy Jassy announced that Amazon will enter a new era. Optimize operations and personnel costs with artificial intelligence. A statement that sounds progressive, but with tens of thousands of people just losing their jobs, it's a bitter end. According to Jassy, the goal is to eliminate the redundant management layer, reduce the bureaucratic layer to turn Amazon into the world's largest startup. For the Amazon president, AI is the most powerful transformative technology since the advent of the internet, a tool that helps companies act faster, serve customers better, and earn more money. Strategy: AI-first workforce, AI-centric workforce, is deployed not only in operations, but also at the management level. Algorithms now not only help process data, but also become boss and manage people. Something that was once created to support humans is now their boss. However, the question is, does effectively mean is better than? While Amazon and a series of technology corporations claim to let AI take charge of customer experience, the reaction from customers themselves remains unclear. A discussion on Reddit about half of the companies planning to replace customer service with AI has exploded into a wave of violent protests. From the user's perspective, to them, chatbots are machines that are emotionless, stereotypical, and helpless. Never once has AI customer service really solved their real problem. AI is only useful for basic guidance, but there are still problems that only humans can solve. They have to beg to be connected to real employees many times because AI doesn't even understand what the customer's problem is. Meanwhile, corporations consider this an inevitable step forward. They talk about performance, capital optimization, and profit maximization. But maybe they forget that no customer wants to be taken care of by a machine, no matter how smart, is if it can't really listen, empathize, or have a human-to-human connection. However, the wheels of AI layoff era continue to roll. With each passing day, more jobs are automated, more people are replaced. Some experts say this is just a normal economic cycle, that technology always takes away and creates new opportunities. Possible. But when people who were once symbols of innovation now have to wait in line for unemployment benefits, is this still a cycle or a sign of an era that is destroying itself? Amazon, considered the benchmark of the global labor market, is now becoming a mirror of that change. As giants started making mass cuts, Google, Meta, Microsoft also quickly followed suit. And so, the wave of AI-driven layoffs officially started. Is not just a crisis of jobs, but a crisis of the times, where technology is no longer a tool at the service of people, but the standard to eliminate them. Perhaps this is just the opening chapter. Because if artificial intelligence is truly the future, then that future is probably gradually taking away everyone's American dream. The light of numbers is sometimes brighter than the truth. Because sometimes the truth is more than anything we can measure with soulless data. According to the US Department of Labor, in August 2025 alone, the entire economy only created 22,000 new jobs at the lowest level since the 2020 pandemic. A number so small compared to expectations that many economists say it is more like the beginning of a recession than a sign of recovery. While the government praises the economy's persistent, people out there are struggling in a spiral of insecurity. Fewer jobs, no rising wages, and the cost of living escalating day by day. According to a New York Fed survey, less than half of Americans believe they can find a new job if they lose their current job, one of the lowest confidence levels since the 2008 crisis. That speaks to a heartbreaking truth. People no longer believe in the system that was once America's pride. They don't believe that working hard will bring stability like before. Employment growth is almost bottoming out, especially in the second half of 2025, experts warn. The US economy still seems to be running smoothly on paper, but the real engine, workforce, is slowing down by the beat. Businesses across states are delaying hiring, in part because of high import costs, constantly changing tariffs, and interest rates remaining anchored at high levels. Several major corporations freeze all new positions through the year, leaving hundreds of thousands of new graduates stranded amid unfinished dreams. What about those who lost their jobs? Many people simply disappear from statistics. They no longer apply, are no longer included in the unemployment rate. Therefore, the 3.8% figure that the media emphasized actually only reflects those who still have enough hope to keep trying. As for the desperate people, they left the system a long time ago. On the news, people still say stable job market. But outside, there's a two-tier America. One tier lights up, talking about profits, GDP, and growth. The other tier is people who run out of savings, live on credit cards, and don't know if they'll have a job next month or not. Some economists call this rolling recession. There was no major collapse like in 2008, just each industry and each market segment silently fell into crisis. This week it's technology, next month it's production, then finance and real estate. The whole economy is shrinking slowly but surely. In many big cities, people still see shop but only half the staff left them before. The rest has been cut to cost optimization. Payrolls are shortened but profit reports are still increasing. Numbers are beautified while real people are living temporarily, carrying 3 jobs to survive. On paper, America is still okay. But amid the reality of supermarkets with reduced operating hours, neighborhoods closing early, and savings accounts draining, there is one truth that cannot be hidden. The economy is surviving on illusion. An illusion that people are forced to believe, because admitting the truth is much scarier. In that picture, the layoffs that started going on silently are explained by sounding rational reasons: restructuring, optimization, and technological innovation. But for many people, it's just the gentlest way to say their chances are gone. The light in the office building still pops up every morning, the work emails are still sent, the meetings are as usual. But somewhere in the middle of that seemingly normal schedule, there are people who are gradually disappearing. With just one click, their access disappears, employee cards are disabled, and email accounts change status: inactive. These are invisible layoffs, a new form of restructuring that is spreading rapidly in large corporations where staff cuts are disguised by elaborate reasons, called by softer names: strategic layoffs, quiet cutting, or performance realignment. According to data compiled from many large corporations in the US, more than 1 million job positions in 2025 were silently cut, not appearing in the official unemployment report. Names disappear from the HR list without leaving any trace in the labor market's one bloodless wound statistics. The departments most affected are not engineers or programmers, but marketing, human resources, middle management, and non-technical administrative positions. These people are usually not publicly fired. Instead, they are placed in the category to re-evaluate productivity or are transferred to nearly impossible positions, forcing them to leave on their own. Businesses call it resource optimization, but insiders understand that is just a way to eliminate humans without using the word to fire. Many employees recounted their experience. A short email titled "Structure Update," without explanation, with only the message that your role has changed. And just a few minutes later, their internal accounts were locked. No thanks. No minutes. Just a blank screen left and a cold feeling. This is probably no different from the slow withdrawal of blood from the working class. Not big enough to make newspaper headlines, but happens continuously to a few people a week until the whole group disappears. The company justifies that this is part of the conversion operating model, that automation is helping to improve productivity. But it's hard not to ask. If productivity increases but people disappear, then what are we optimizing for? With the current US economy, layoffs no longer have the appearance of a shock. It has become a systematic habit. A mechanism so smooth that one can be removed from the system without anyone realizing it. In that context, big brands started introducing the employee mental care solution to ease stress. LinkedIn Learning launches Resilience in Transition course series, helps workers adapt to change and build sustainable capacity. A slight reminder that, in this era, perhaps no one is guaranteed absolute safety. When the cuts become so smooth that we no longer recognize them, the question is no longer who will be fired next, but how many people are left brave enough to stay. They are taught that just work hard, just try, just do everything right. Then the door to the future will open. But in America in 2025, those doors seem to have been locked, and the keys were in a place where no one could reach them anymore. According to recent labor reports, the group of young people from 20 to 29 years old is the hardest hit by the prolonged recruitment freeze. The unemployment rate of recent graduates is higher than the national average from 25 to 30%, a number enough to turn post-graduation excitement into a constant worry every morning. College degrees were once considered a pass to a stable life, has now become an expensive certificate for a deadlocked journey. Industries that were once the promised land of young people, such as technology, finance, and professional services, are the places with the strongest cuts. Companies that once boasted of dynamic environments and recruiting young talent are now quietly withdrawing all their starting positions. New graduates who dreamed of working at those corporations now sit for hours in front of their computers, sending applications from place to place, just to receive silence in return. I submitted more than 200 applications, went through 6 rounds of interviews, then was ghosted, a 24-year-old girl shared on the job search forum. Her story is not uncommon. Across online platforms, young people are recounting the same tragedy, getting things right but remaining unemployed. A saying that spread widely on social networks as a sour irony. A cashier job also requires a bachelor's degree. In a country that used to see work as dignity, a university degree is now evidence of redundancy. Meanwhile, AI is quietly becoming the gatekeeper for the labor market. Millions of records are eliminated in the first round by automated screening algorithms. Applications that are rated are not suitable, not because the applicant lacks competence, but because the software misreads the syntax or scores skills lower than virtual standards. A career dream can end in just 0.3 seconds of scanning data without anyone knowing why. The consequence is that a generation is growing up in bitter contradiction. They saw their parents believe in American dream, believes that working hard will bring worthy rewards. But now, they work more, get better, learn more, and are still left behind. When a younger generation looks around and only sees prestigious graduates doing temporary jobs, when they have to use credit cards to get through the month, then work hard is no longer advice but a reminder, heartbreaking reminder of what used to be true, but is no longer true. A generation that was once promised everything is possible is now realizing that everything is only for a few. And as faith in justice, in effort, in the American dream gradually disappears, America is probably losing its most precious thing. The next generation. Can it still be called the land of opportunity when an entire younger generation, despite doing everything right, still cannot walk through the first door? If you just look at Wall Street, America seems to be reviving. Stocks rose, corporate profits exploded, financial news jubilant with the headline, "Confidence Returns." But if you look down at Main Street, where millions of Americans are still looking for work, credit card debt piling up, and houses being foreclosed on, that picture is completely different. That is the biggest paradox of the US economy today, when cheap money returns to the market, but jobs do not. Since the first quarter of 2023, the US Federal Reserve, Fed, has maintained interest rates about 3% higher than neutral to curb inflation. That tight policy caused employment growth to weaken markedly, especially in manufacturing, construction and low-skilled labor sectors that were once the backbone of the middle class. As borrowing costs increase, small businesses shrink in size, and large corporations delay recruitment, waiting for a more stable signal. Entering 2025, the Fed began lowering interest rates again, hoping to restore confidence and stimulate the labor market. However, the positive impact is almost non-existent. Companies don't hire more people. They use cheap capital to buy back shares, increase profits on the books, and keep share value for shareholders. On paper, it's a win. In real life, it is an economy that does not create jobs. Corporate profits rose sharply, but total new jobs rose just 0.2%, according to data compiled through the end of 2024. That number is so small that it's almost meaningless, a sign that the money is flowing up, not out. Richer people have again continued to benefit from a recovery in wealth, while the majority of workers remain locked in a spiral. Rising prices, stagnating incomes, and the fear of losing their jobs has never been so great. An economist commented, "Interest rate cuts now only bring confidence to investors, not to workers." In fact, monetary policy, designed to stabilize the real economy, is now caught up in the trajectory of financial markets. As the Fed pumps liquidity, Wall Street rejoices. But on the ground, those who once kept America running, from mechanics, engineers to logistics staff, still couldn't find a new footing. The consequence is a two-speed economy. The investment class rises, the working class sinks. The Fed's interest rate policy now no longer seems to help the middle class, but only serves the interests of corporations and the financial world. What was once a tool to protect people against recession has now become a lever for inequality. In the last 2 years, there has been an unprecedented acceleration in the movement of technical jobs abroad. According to statistics from labor organizations, the number of American technology jobs outsourcing abroad has increased by nearly 50% in just 2 years. Positions that once belonged to engineers, analysts, or programmers in the US are now in the hands of teams in Mexico, India, and Eastern Europe, where labor is cheaper, labor regulations are more liquid, and taxes are lower. A software engineer in California recounted, his team of 10 people were replaced after only one internal meeting. Their position was assigned to a group in Guadalajara, Mexico, with a salary 6 times lower. "We have to guide them through their work before leaving," he said, as if writing a report for themselves. At the same time, Canada launched a special visa program for 10,000 H-1B workers living in the US to attract highly skilled people who are feeling precarious about the wave of cuts. The result? In just 24 hours, the entire quota was filled. It is a testament to the phenomenon that experts call reverse brain drain. If in the past, talent from all over the world flocked to America, now, America itself is losing them to countries that appreciate opportunities more. And while corporations continue to move jobs abroad to cost optimization, the US government has repeated the same message. We are understaffed. A bitter paradox, because America has no shortage of people to work, but of jobs that can feed them. Candid economists, America is exporting its main future. As jobs, technology, and talent all leave the country, the only thing left is the beautiful balance sheets, but no one left to dream about American dream. As America proudly talks about advanced technology and global performance, is quietly exporting its own future. The remaining, people who once believed in the promise of the American dream, now have only 3 things left: losing their jobs, losing their trust, and losing the position their ancestors once built. If America continues to send jobs abroad to save costs today, who will be left to shoulder tomorrow? The numbers are still published each month. The report still emphasizes recovery, market confidence, GDP growth. But after the lights of financial buildings, after the flowery language of the media, another America is silently disintegrating, where work is no longer safe, where young people no longer have faith, and where technology is replacing people faster than society's ability to adapt. From silent layoffs to AI becoming the perfect excuse, from unemployed young people doing everything right to jobs being exported abroad, all like fragmented pieces forming a picture. Complete picture of a new Great Recession, no noise, no breakdown, but cold and constant. Generations that once believed that working hard was enough to change lives now sit quietly in front of the screen, witnessing an economy where every individual effort seems to be swallowed up by the system. And the young generation who were once promised a brilliant future now only see opportunities gradually crossing the border. America used to be proud to be the land of opportunity. But when work disappears, when trust cracks, when labor values are replaced by algorithms, does America still want to save its own soul? For perhaps, Great Recession 2.0 did not begin with the collapse of the bank or stock market, but with the day-by-day wear and tear on the savings books of millions of Americans. If you also feel the change going on around you, if you've ever seen friends lose their jobs, or you yourself are living amid these upheavals, please share your story. Please comment, share and subscribe to the channel so we can tell together what's really going on behind American Dream. Because sometimes, only by speaking out can we begin to find lost faith. The content in this video is constructed for informational and analytical purposes, based on publicly available data, reports, and sources considered trustworthy at the time of implementation. The video is not intended to provide financial, investment, or political advice. nor does it represent any official views of organizations, individuals, or state agencies. All comments, comparisons, and questions in the video are only exploratory, reflects the current state of society to stimulate reflection on changes in contemporary American life and economy. Viewers are encouraged to learn more information, compare multiple perspectives, and draw their own conclusions. The author and production team are not responsible for any personal decisions, financial actions, or inferences made based on the content in the video.